Hello there, and welcome back to The Sleepy Scientist. Tonight we're setting aside the charts and equations and stepping softly into a mystery that doesn't need solving, only feeling. Wherever you're listening from, in a quiet bedroom, maybe curled beneath a weighted blanket, or simply watching your ceiling in the glow of a nightlight, this is your space. A gentle sanctuary for questions with no pressure and answers that unfold like a sigh. So take a breath, let your shoulders lower. Tonight's voyage is not through space or time, but through something more invisible, yet just as real, your emotions. Now I know it's not always easy to feel. Some days we're numb, others we're overwhelmed, and sometimes we don't even have words for what stirs beneath the surface. But tonight we'll explore how those feelings, strange, warm, aching, electric, might actually shape what we call reality. Not just metaphorically, but scientifically. That soft clench in your chest, the lump in your throat, the flutter in your stomach, they are not accidents. They are signals, encoded in chemistry, frequency, and light. What if emotions aren't obstacles to truth, but part of the mechanism of truth itself? There's something oddly beautiful about imagining a universe where every sigh, every tear, every heartbeat quietly echoes into the structure of the world around you. That maybe reality doesn't just respond to thoughts, but also to how deeply and honestly we feel. What if emotion is more than reaction? What if it's instruction? Tonight we'll take this question and cradle it like a small glowing stone. No rush to answer, just gentle curiosity, drifting. As you begin to settle into this journey, notice your breath. Noticing it is enough. It doesn't need to be deep. It doesn't need to be perfect, just yours. Behind every scientific discovery, behind every theory, was a feeling, a hunch, a wonder, a pull. That means science itself may have begun with emotion. Maybe even the universe did. So, wherever you are, whatever you've been carrying today, you can set it down for a while, just for tonight, because tonight your feelings are not problems, they're portals. Let's walk gently through the first one, together. So let's begin softly. What is an emotion? Is it just a fleeting mood? A swirl of sadness or spark of joy that shows up and leaves again like weather? Or is it something deeper? Maybe something structural? Let's peek inside with no hurry. Emotion, biologically, is not just in your heart. It's a full-body broadcast. It begins in the brain, particularly deep in a place called the limbic system, the quiet old neighborhood of your mind. This area isn't logical. It's instinctive. It responds before your thoughts even finish loading. When you feel something, like fear or love or awe, your brain releases chemicals. Hormones like cortisol, dopamine, oxytocin, each one changes your body's chemistry. Heart rate, breath, digestion, even your immune system shift accordingly. But here's the strange part. The emotion isn't just the chemical, it's also the perception of that chemical. Emotion is sensation plus meaning. It's your nervous system lighting up and your mind translating the spark into story. That's why two people can feel very differently in the same moment. One person's fear might be another's excitement. One person's silence might feel safe, and to another, lonely. Emotion is personal, but it's also universal. It's the most ancient language we share with animals, even with life itself. Before we had words, we had feelings. Before we named the world, we felt our way through it. Some scientists believe emotions evolved as survival tools to keep us safe, to help us connect. But maybe they're more than tools. Maybe they're sensors, and maybe, just maybe, they also send signals outward into something beyond skin and bone. Maybe what you feel doesn't stop inside you. So tonight as you drift, remember, Emotions aren't weakness, they're intelligence, soft data from the soul. And the more you listen, the more they'll reveal. Close your eyes if you haven't already. Let's travel inward. Picture your brain, not as a machine, not even as a computer, but as a kind of soft alchemist. Every emotion you feel, joy, sorrow, surprise, tenderness, begins as a faint electrical signal, a whisper between neurons. These signals release chemicals. Those chemicals flow through your bloodstream, and your body listens. This is the alchemy. Thought becomes feeling. Feeling becomes molecule. Molecule becomes action. One of the most important bridges in this system is the hypothalamus, a tiny gland that monitors your inner world like a quiet lighthouse. It tells your body when to calm down, when to prepare, when to rest, when to cry. Emotions move through this highway in milliseconds. That's why a single thought can make your heart race. A single memory can make your palms sweat. Or a single word, like home, can make your eyes well with tears. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The process is two-way. Just as your brain creates emotion, your emotion shapes your brain. The more you feel something, the more your brain builds pathways to expect it. This is called neuroplasticity, and it means your feelings physically reshape your reality over time. So if you've felt sadness often, your brain becomes skilled at sadness. If you've practiced joy, your neurons remember the path like a well-worn trail. You're not just experiencing emotions, you're rehearsing them, and eventually you become fluent in the ones you practice most. This isn't about blame, it's about awareness. Your brain is listening, not only to what you think, but how you feel. And in this listening, your reality quietly shifts. Have you ever had a feeling before your mind could explain it? Maybe you walked into a room and instantly felt unwelcome, or met someone and just knew something was off, or incredibly safe. That's because the body often feels before the mind understands. Your nervous system has eyes of its own, not the kind that see light, but the kind that sense vibration. This is especially true of the enteric nervous system, sometimes called the second brain. It lives in your gut. Over 100 million neurons lining your intestines, talking to your brain constantly, that flutter in your stomach when nervous, that's your enteric system warning you, that deep exhale when safe. It's your body whispering, "You're okay now." Your skin listens too, your heartbeat, your breath. All of these systems respond to emotional stimuli faster than your conscious mind. This means, by the time you think "I'm sad," your body's already tightened your throat, slowed your digestion, and dimmed your motivation. The story came after the feeling, and so feelings are not just thoughts, they're sensations. They show up in temperature, tension, tingles. Your whole body becomes the canvas, and emotion is the invisible brush. When we ignore the body, we often misread the feeling, but when we pay attention, a soft kind of clarity returns. You are not a floating mind. You are a body full of quiet wisdom. And tonight that body doesn't need to solve anything. It just needs to be listened to, like an instrument, gently tuning back to harmony. Now, take your attention to your heart, not in a poetic way just yet, though we'll return there, but scientifically. Did you know your heart has its own nervous system? Over 40,000 neurons embedded in its muscle. The heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. Think about that. The rhythm of your heart doesn't just respond to emotion, it creates it. The HeartMath Institute has shown that your heart produces an electromagnetic field that can be measured several feet from your body. That field changes depending on your emotional state. When you feel frustration or anxiety, the field becomes chaotic. When you feel gratitude or compassion, it becomes smooth, coherent, harmonious. This coherence isn't just beautiful, it's functional. In states of heart-brain coherence, your immune system improves, your cortisol drops, your cognition clears, and more interestingly, your perception of the world changes. People seem kinder, events feel more manageable, and life seems to flow. It's as if the heart isn't just a pump, but a tuner, a broadcaster, sending emotion out into the body and perhaps into the environment. Some experiments even suggest our heart rhythms can synchronize with those we're near, that we literally feel each other's presence. So tonight, place a hand on your chest. Feel the slow thump. That's not just a beat, that's a message. From you to you. Quiet, ancient, and patient. You don't need to understand it. Just listen. You're not alone in this body. You are a small orchestra, and your heart is the conductor. Let's begin this chapter with a soft paradox. In the strange world of quantum mechanics, the act of observing can change what is being observed. It sounds like science fiction, but it's one of the most well-documented phenomena in physics. It's called the observer effect. When we try to measure a subatomic particle, say an electron, the particle seems to behave differently than when it's left alone. It's as if it knows it's being watched, and that subtle awareness changes its behavior. At the quantum level, particles exist in a haze of possibilities, not one place or one state, but many. Scientists call this a superposition, but the moment we measure or observe the system, the haze collapses into one outcome, one reality. In other words, the simple act of attention shapes reality. You might ask, what does this have to do with emotion? But maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe the more poetic version is, what if emotion is the observer? When you feel something strongly, deeply, you're not just reacting, you're attending, you are measuring the moment with your whole body. Your emotion focuses attention, and attention collapses possibility into outcome. Could that be a kind of microcosmic creation? A gentle nudge that tells the universe, I'm watching, I care, I feel? Maybe this is why emotions feel so powerful, because they are more than passive experiences. Maybe they're subtle instruments of participation. When you love someone, you change how they feel. When you grieve something, you mark it with meaning. Emotion isn't just a response. It's a force of attention. And attention in the quantum world has agency. So tonight, don't brush off your feelings as random weather. They might be the very mechanism by which your world takes shape. Now, lean back and allow your imagination to float between science and possibility. Let's ask something quietly radical. Could emotions themselves operate quantumly? Could feelings, just like particles, exist in multiple states, collapse with observation, and become entangled across space and time? Entanglement is one of the most mysterious behaviors in quantum physics. Two particles can become linked so that what happens to one instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance, but it's been proven. Entangled particles respond to each other faster than light could travel between them. Now, think of how it feels when you know someone you love is hurting, even if they're far away. Or when a stranger walks into a room and you instantly feel the emotional atmosphere shift. These are subjective experiences, but could they reflect something deeper? Could human emotion be a macro expression of entanglement, a resonance between beings? Some researchers have explored this, testing heart rate synchronization between people in separate rooms. Others have found evidence that intention, sent from one person, can affect the biology of another. It's not yet textbook science, but it is human experience, and that matters. Your emotions might not just belong to you. They might ripple, they might connect, They might resonate across invisible fields we don't yet know how to fully measure, like music felt through a wall or sunlight in the dark. They might reach farther than we think. So when you feel something tonight, joy, sadness, stillness, just imagine, maybe somewhere, someone else feels a soft echo of it too. Not because you told them, but because emotion, like energy, never disappears. It moves, it links, it entangles. Let's return now to the quiet kingdom of the body, to soft cells and gentle systems. Have you ever believed something so strongly that it changed how you felt? And later, even when you found out it wasn't true, the feeling lingered? That's not imagination. That's biology. Your belief literally reshapes your physiology. When you believe something deeply, your brain activates certain areas that release a chemical signature to match that belief. For example, if you believe a situation is safe, your brain quiets the amygdala, releases oxytocin, and your body relaxes. If you believe danger is near, even falsely, cortisol floods your system, your blood pressure rises, and digestion halts. Your body doesn't check whether the belief is true. It only asks whether you believe it. This is the power of perception. Your reality is sculpted not only by what is, but by what you think is. In this way, belief becomes the invisible architect of your biology. This isn't just psychological, it's molecular. Studies have shown that belief in healing, even when it involves sugar pills or saline, can trigger measurable changes in brain chemistry, immune response, and even recovery speed. This is the famous placebo effect, the healing power of belief. But there's also the darker twin, nocebo. When you expect harm or illness, the body can respond accordingly, even if the threat is imaginary. So what does this mean for emotion? It means feelings are not passengers, they're drivers. They're not just experiences, they are instructions. And belief is their language. What you believe about your feelings determines how deeply they reach into the body. So tonight, be gentle with your beliefs. They are building your biology, one molecule at a time. Let's go deeper now into a mystery that has puzzled scientists for generations, the placebo effect. Imagine taking a pill that contains no medicine, but still your pain fades. Your blood pressure drops. Your body begins to heal. How? What's the mechanism? The answer may lie not in the pill, but in the mind that believed it would help. The placebo effect is one of the clearest examples of the mind's ability to shape matter. It's not just all in your head, it's in your chemistry, your cells, your nerves. Placebo effects have been measured in everything from pain relief to depression to surgery recovery. The common ingredient? Belief. When you believe in healing, your brain releases endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, the very substances that promote wellness. But if you believe in sickness, the opposite can occur. That's the nocebo effect. In one study, patients told they might experience side effects, even from harmless pills, did. Their belief created the symptoms. This is not a trick, it's a spell. Not a magical spell, but a biological one. Cast by the mind, woven by emotion, translated into chemistry. In this sense, emotions may be the currency of belief. The more emotionally invested you are in a belief, the more powerfully it imprints on the body. So what does this mean for daily life? It means the way you speak to yourself matters. The stories you tell yourself before sleep matter. Every "I can't" or "I always" becomes a quiet instruction. But so do the whispers of hope, the gentle maybe, the brave "I'll try again tomorrow." Tonight, let's begin rewriting a few of those spells. Not with force, not with fake positivity, but with gentle truth. You are already influencing your biology, just by feeling. Let's feel something kinder. Take one last deep breath, and now turn inward, not with effort, just with awareness. Beneath your ribs, your skin, your breath is an entire galaxy of living cells, trillions of them, each one vibrating, responding, adapting, each one listening. What are they listening to? Not just your environment, not just your nutrition, but your emotion, your feelings, whether spoken or unspoken, shape the chemistry that bathes every single cell. That means every moment you feel joy, your cells receive that signal. When you feel shame, they feel it too. Not because they know the story, but because they feel the frequency. This isn't poetry, it's measurable. Emotions trigger hormones. Hormones change protein expression. Proteins direct cellular behavior. That means your immune cells, your digestive enzymes, even your DNA response are all influenced by emotion. It's as if your entire body is a listening room and your emotion is the music. Now, this doesn't mean emotions are dangerous or that you must only feel good things. It means your emotions deserve care, attention, respect, because they're not whispers into the void. They're instructions into the very code of your being. So tonight, imagine your body as a tiny universe, one made of stars and cells, one where your feelings ripple like gravitational waves, shaping orbits, opening channels, stirring evolution, and maybe, just maybe, the outer universe is doing the same. Because if emotions shape reality inside you, who's to say they don't shape the cosmos too? Imagine a guitar string being plucked in a silent room. The vibration isn't loud, but it fills the space. And if you're still enough, you can feel it. Emotion works the same way. It doesn't need to shout, it just needs to vibrate. Every feeling, joy, sadness, anger, awe, carries its own frequency. That frequency isn't symbolic, it's physical. Modern science has shown that the heart, brain, and body all emit electromagnetic waves. When you feel calm and peaceful, the frequency these waves emit is low and smooth, almost like a song. When you're stressed or afraid, that wave becomes jagged and high-pitched, more like static. You're not just experiencing emotion, you're broadcasting it. This frequency affects more than just your inner state. Studies suggest your emotional frequency influences the environment around you. Animals can feel it. Babies can sense it. Even plants may respond. In laboratories, emotional frequencies have been shown to affect water structure, bacterial growth, and even crystal formation. The idea is simple. Emotions don't stay inside. What's remarkable is that you can tune this emotional frequency through breath, music, memory, or simple presence. You can soften your internal signal. You can bring coherence to the chaos. Like tuning an instrument before a performance, you can choose the mood you emit, not perfectly, but intentionally. So as you lie here tonight, your body relaxed, your thoughts slowing, imagine your emotions humming beneath the surface. Imagine them like gentle waves in a pond. You don't need to control them. You just need to feel. Let them vibrate. Let them ripple. Let them harmonize with the quiet night. What if your emotions weren't just responses, but instructions? What if each feeling was a message, not only to your thoughts, but to your biology? Think of it this way. Every emotion is followed by a physical shift. A change in hormones, posture, digestion, immune function. The body doesn't just listen, it obeys. For instance, when you feel fear, your amygdala signals danger. Your adrenal glands release cortisol. Your pupils dilate, your muscles tighten, and your body prepares to run, even if the threat is imagined. Your cells don't ask whether it's real. They act on what you feel. That's the instruction. The same happens with love, with safety, with peace. Oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. These are not just happy chemicals, they're builders. They tell your body, grow, repair, connect. They direct cells to multiply, wounds to heal, digestion to resume. Emotion gives matter its orders. Now imagine this happening constantly, thousands of times a day. Every little emotional ripple sending biochemical instructions through your bloodstream, into your tissues. Over time, those instructions shape your health, your energy, even your behavior. It's like your feelings are writing the script your body performs. This isn't to say you must always feel good. That's impossible and unnatural. But it does mean your feelings matter. They are part of your biology, not interruptions to it. They are the software, and your cells are the listeners. So as you fall into stillness tonight, think of your body as a responsive garden. Your emotions, the weather. No need to fear the rain. Just be mindful of what you plant and what you water. Have you ever noticed that when you're joyful, the world feels brighter? Or when you're heavy-hearted, everything around you seems grey? This isn't a coincidence, it's perception. But what if it's more than perception? What if your mood actually shapes the reality you encounter? Psychologists call this emotional priming. When you're in a certain mood, your brain begins to filter the world accordingly. If you're anxious, you notice threats. If you're grateful, you see beauty. It's as if your brain puts on a lens, and whatever lens you're wearing changes what you see. This isn't just psychology. On a quantum level, observation changes outcome. If your attention, shaped by mood, is consistently directed toward danger, failure, or lack, you may subtly influence your choices, behaviors, and reactions, creating a world that reflects your internal forecast. But when your mood lifts, your perception widens. New options appear. Small openings become visible. This might explain why inspiration often follows rest, why joy seems to open doors, why gratitude seems to attract goodness, not because it's magic, but because it changes what you're able to see. Mood doesn't just colour the world, it quietly sculpts it. So when you wake tomorrow and the world greets you with uncertainty, remember, you're not powerless. You don't control everything, but you do influence how your body responds. And sometimes just a shift in emotional tone can change the entire day. Tonight, choose softness. Let your emotions prepare a gentle lens, one that lets in more light. Let's drift into a strange and beautiful truth. Emotion changes your experience of time. When you're joyful, time flies. Hours feel like minutes. But in grief or anxiety, time crawls. Seconds feel like hours. Why does this happen? The answer lies in your brain's relationship with attention. When you feel happy or excited, your brain is flooded with dopamine. Dopamine narrows your focus. It makes everything feel effortless, smooth, flowing. You're in the moment, and moments pass quickly. But when you feel sadness or fear, your brain pays closer attention to each second. It stretches time. It's a survival response, a way of monitoring the world more closely. This distortion isn't imaginary, it's measurable. Brain scans show that when people feel low, their internal clocks slow down. That's why depression can feel endless, and joy can feel fleeting. It's not just the emotion, it's your body's sense of rhythm changing. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes sadness invites slowness. It allows you to pause, reflect, remember. It's the body's way of saying, something matters here, pay attention. Time distortion can be a gift, a portal to presence, a sacred slowing, and eventually, when healing begins, time changes again. The hours soften, joy creeps back in, the rhythm of life picks up, emotion and time dancing together. So if you felt like time is heavy lately, don't be afraid. It's not broken, it's just stretching to hold your feelings. It will breathe again, and you'll ride the waves. And now, let's turn toward one of the quietest, most powerful emotions of all: gratitude. Not as a polite thank you, but as a physiological, neurological, and energetic force. When you feel true gratitude, deep cellular gratitude, something extraordinary happens. Your heart rate slows, your breath deepens, your vagus nerve, the great calming highway of the body, lights up. In this state, inflammation drops, blood pressure stabilizes, and your brain releases oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine, the chemical symphony of trust, love, and openness. But gratitude doesn't stop at the physical. EEG studies show that when people practice gratitude, their brainwaves shift into alpha and theta states, the same rhythms associated with deep meditation and creativity. The mind becomes quiet, the body opens, and perception widens. Gratitude makes you more receptive. This isn't accidental, it's evolutionary. Gratitude tells your system, you're safe, you're supported, you can stop bracing now. And in that pause, healing begins, cells repair, emotions integrate. The world seems less like a threat and more like a friend. What's beautiful is that you don't need grand gestures. Just naming 3 things, no matter how small, can activate this state. A warm blanket, a kind memory, the fact that you're breathing. Gratitude is not the result of a good life. It's the creator of one. So as you rest now, try this. Softly whisper something you're grateful for, even if it's just this moment of quiet. Let your body receive it. Let your heart echo it and feel how the world begins to soften in return. Let's return now to something quietly powerful, the architecture of the emotional world. You may not see them, but inside you, emotions build structures, invisible but influential. And perhaps the most contrasting of all is what fear builds versus what love creates. When you feel fear, even the quiet kind, the brain begins construction. The amygdala activates, adrenaline floods, muscles tighten, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, a wall begins to rise. Not a wall made of stone, but a wall made of protection, of suspicion, of distance. Fear, biologically, is designed to defend, but sometimes in defending, it also isolates. Love does something different. When you feel it, whether romantic, friendly, or spiritual, a kind of door appears. A softness opens in the chest. Your body releases oxytocin. Stress levels lower, and the mind becomes more creative, more forgiving. Love makes it easier to imagine other possibilities. Fear restricts vision. Love expands it. These aren't metaphors, they're neurological facts. Brain scans show that fear and love light up different networks. Fear activates survival. Love activates connection, integration, and trust. In simple terms, fear closes, love opens. And while both are necessary, both are part of being human, it's worth noticing which one you're building with. Do you feel walls rising or doors opening? And if a door feels too hard to build, could you start with a window, a breath, a single kind thought? Tonight, as you lie in the dark, ask yourself softly, what am I building right now? And is it something I want to live inside? Close your eyes for this one if you haven't already. Think of a memory, any memory, maybe something from childhood, a quiet walk, a time you felt proud. Notice how the memory feels. Now here's the curious part. That memory may change depending on your current mood. Scientists call this state-dependent memory. When you're happy, you tend to recall happy events. When you're sad, your brain pulls up sad ones. It's as if emotion acts as a search filter in the mind's library. Whatever you're feeling now, decides which pages to flip open. This isn't your imagination, it's cognitive neuroscience. The brain's emotional state at the time of recall influences what is remembered and how it's remembered. That means your past is not a fixed photograph. It's a repainting touched by today's light. This explains why we sometimes feel our entire life is falling apart, when really just one day is heavy, or why a wave of gratitude can make even painful memories feel softer, more meaningful. It's not that the past changed, it's that you did. And so the story did too. This gives us power, quiet power, because even if we cannot change the events of the past, we can change how we relate to them. And that new emotion, it rewires the memory. It doesn't erase the pain, but it adds new context, a bit of warmth in the dark. So tonight, as memories surface, whether sweet or sharp, remember, you are not locked in them, you are the light shining on them, and you can choose what kind of light that is. Now let's look at something even subtler, the way emotions can become habits, not just reactions to events, but patterns, loops, neural ruts. The more you feel something, the easier it becomes to feel again. That's not weakness, that's wiring. Inside your brain are trillions of connections. Every time you feel an emotion, a particular set of neurons fire. And if those neurons fire often, the brain builds a shortcut, a well-worn path. Soon you don't even need a trigger. Your brain walks that emotional path automatically. You've rehearsed it, perfected it. This is why chronic stress becomes the default setting, why some people feel constantly low, even when nothing is wrong. It's not just mindset, it's neural architecture. The brain has become fluent in that emotion. It knows the steps, the rhythm, the chemicals. But here's the hopeful part. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change, even in adulthood. Just as you can learn sadness, you can also learn peace, learn wonder, learn joy. But it takes practice, repetition, not loud gestures, but tiny ones. Noticing one thing you love each day, breathing slowly before reacting, smiling without a reason. These aren't cliches, they're rewiring exercises, micro movements that tell your neurons, let's build a new path. So tonight, be curious. What emotion has become habitual in your life? And what emotion would you like to rehearse more often? You don't need to force it. You just need to begin. Let's walk gently here, because this topic deserves reverence. Trauma, whether sharp or subtle, doesn't just live in memory. It lives in the body, in muscle tension, in breath patterns, in the posture you unconsciously hold. It's not in your head, it's in your cells. When a traumatic event occurs, the body enters survival mode. Adrenaline floods, the heart races, muscles brace, breath shortens, and if the event ends safely, the body often returns to balance. But when the trauma isn't processed, or when it repeats, the body gets stuck. It forgets how to exhale. This is why someone can flinch at a sound years after a car crash, or feel tightness in their chest with no clear reason. The trauma echo isn't logical, it's somatic, stored in the nervous system like a frozen ripple, until one day, with safety, care and gentleness, it begins to thaw. Modern neuroscience confirms this. Trauma changes brain function, immune regulation, even gene expression. But healing is possible, not always in grand epiphanies, but in slow trust, in breath, in gentle movement, in connection. Your body remembers, but it can also relearn. With presence, with patience, with time. You don't have to relive the pain to heal it. You just need to be present. When your body says, it's time. So if your body holds old echoes, speak to it softly tonight. I hear you. You're not broken. You survived. Sometimes that's the first and only step. Let's float into something wide now. A whisper of possibility. What if your emotions weren't just biochemical storms? What if they weren't just internal signals? What if the universe was listening? This idea isn't new. In ancient traditions, from Vedic philosophy to indigenous cosmology, emotion is seen as vibration, a message sent into the fabric of existence, not to control the world, but to converse with it, to align with it, to harmonize with it. Modern physics doesn't confirm this, but it doesn't entirely deny it either. Quantum fields respond to observation. Photons behave differently based on interference. The double-slit experiment hints at a world more mysterious than material. Could emotion be part of that dance? When you feel deeply, love, grief, wonder, something shifts. Not just in you, but in the field around you. You walk differently, speak differently, people respond differently. It's not proof, but it's pattern. A softness enters the space. This doesn't mean emotion controls outcomes, but maybe it participates in possibility. Maybe your feelings add texture to the canvas of the world, like music added to a silent film. Your emotion gives tone, mood, story. So tonight, as you lie beneath your own ceiling of stars, feel what you feel, not to change the universe, but to join it. Because perhaps the universe isn't just physics and particles. Perhaps it's a great listening presence. And tonight, it's listening to you. Take a moment now. Place your hand gently over your heart. Beneath the chest, beneath the bones, a quiet pulse is keeping time. But that pulse isn't just moving blood, it's broadcasting a signal. The human heart emits the strongest electromagnetic field in the body, far greater than the brain. This isn't metaphor, it's measurable. Using magnetometers, scientists at the HeartMath Institute have detected the heart's field extending several feet beyond the body. And what changes that field? Emotion. When you're in a state of gratitude, compassion, or peace, the field becomes smooth, harmonious, and wide. When you're in stress or fear, it becomes jagged, erratic, contracted. This field communicates with your brain, your organs, and possibly others. Research suggests that people near each other can entrain their heart rhythms sync slightly, like two waves aligning. Mothers and infants do it. Longtime partners often do it. It's as if the heart is a resonance chamber, constantly sharing data. So when you walk into a room and feel something before anyone speaks, maybe you're picking up on real electromagnetic information. Maybe emotions are not confined to flesh. Maybe they ripple. Tonight your heart continues this silent song. You don't need to understand it, only notice it. You are not just a thinker or feeler, you're a broadcaster of harmony or dissonance. And right now your breath can decide which. Have you ever caught someone else's mood without a single word? Maybe a room felt heavy, or a friend's joy became your own. That's not just empathy, it's emotional contagion, and it happens faster than thought. Mirror neurons, specialized cells in your brain, allow you to simulate what others feel. When you see someone smile, these neurons fire as if you smiled. When someone winces, your body subtly braces. This creates a kind of emotional resonance, especially in groups. It's how audiences laugh together, how fear spreads in crowds, how one calm person can ground a room. But it goes beyond the brain. Your nervous system is constantly scanning, not just for danger, but for coherence. When someone near you is in a regulated emotional state, your body may synchronize. This is why some people feel safe, and others make you tense, even when they say nothing. This suggests that your emotional state isn't private, it's shared, like scent or music. You may never know how far your inner peace travels, or whose breath slows because of your presence. So tonight, if you feel calm, that calm might be contagious. And if you feel unrest, let it be witnessed, not judged. Because by knowing your emotional signal, you gain the power to tune it. And that tuning, it may bring ease to others without a word. Now we enter something a little more mysterious, something from the world of physics. Entropy. In simple terms, entropy is a measure of disorder, the natural tendency of systems to move from order to chaos. Ice melts, buildings decay, everything eventually scatters. But what if emotion subtly interacts with this flow? Not by reversing entropy, that's not how physics works, but by influencing coherence within a system. When you're in fear, your body becomes less efficient. Heart rhythms destabilize. Neural signals become erratic. In this way, fear increases internal entropy. It scrambles the code. But in love, peace, or awe, systems self-organize. Heart and brain become synchronized. Cells repair. Thoughts clarify. This isn't magic, it's thermodynamic alignment. Coherence. A temporary decrease in internal disorder. A soft order emerging from feeling. This is why some emotions feel stabilizing and others destabilizing. Why sacred music or warm presence can soothe a chaotic system. It's not just emotional relief, it's thermodynamic influence. So while you cannot defy entropy in the grand cosmic sense, you can cultivate internal order, emotional coherence. It's like lighting a small lamp in a room of scattering particles. It won't stop time, but it will make this moment more meaningful. Let your emotions tonight lean toward softness, toward coherence, toward warmth. Even that gentle shift ripples against the dark. All around us, something exists that we cannot see but may sometimes feel. Ancient cultures called it prana, chi, spirit, or aura. Today, scientists speak of biofields, electromagnetic patterns surrounding living beings. What if emotion isn't just inside us, but exists in a field around us? Your body constantly emits signals, electrical, magnetic, thermal, and even photonic, light-based. Emotions shape these signals. Anger, love, fear. Each alters the body's output. That field interacts with the environment, possibly affecting others and even delicate systems like water, DNA, or random number generators, as shown in some controversial consciousness studies. Mainstream science is cautious here, and rightfully so, but a growing body of data hints that emotion has a field effect. That deep intention, repeated feeling, and coherent emotion may nudge probability, not control reality, but gently bias it, like a breeze influencing the smoke of a candle. This might explain why places feel sacred or haunted, why some people seem to shift a room just by entering. Their emotional field leaves residue. Their presence alters the local information pattern. So tonight, as you lie here, consider this. Your feelings don't end at your skin. They radiate. You are a field, a ripple, a mood in motion. And that might be more important than we know. And finally for tonight, let's slow into something very gentle. The conversation happening between your nervous system and the world. Not in words, not in thoughts, but in sensation, in breath, in rhythm. Your vagus nerve, a long wandering thread that stretches from your brainstem to your gut, plays a key role here. It detects safety. It regulates heartbeat. It listens to facial expression, tone of voice, temperature, light. Every second your nervous system is asking, am I safe? Am I connected? Can I relax? When you feel emotionally secure, your vagus nerve activates what's called the parasympathetic state. Rest, digest, repair. Your body softens, your pupils relax, your immune system awakens. This is your healing mode, and it's unlocked by emotional signals, not just physical ones. That means kindness, soft lighting, quiet music, slow breathing, loving presence. They all act as cues, invitations for the nervous system to exhale. And in that exhale, emotion becomes medicine. The body's soft conversation turns into a lullaby. So as you drift deeper into rest, let your body feel safe. Let your system whisper back to the world, I'm okay now. I'm safe now. I can rest. And if you listen closely, you might just hear the universe exhale with you. Have you ever felt someone's mood before they said a word? That's not magic. It's mirror neurons. These cells in your brain are designed to sense emotion in others and reflect it back, like a tuning fork placed beside another. When someone smiles at you, you feel a lift. When someone is tense, you might clench without realizing. It's called emotional contagion, and in close relationships, it becomes even stronger. We don't just see how others feel, we resonate with it. This is why a calm presence can soothe an anxious child, or why couples start to feel each other's stress without saying a thing. Your emotions are not confined to your body. They ripple, gently or not, into everyone you touch. But this is also where healing begins, because as much as fear can echo between hearts, so can compassion. Your ability to hold space, breathe deeply, offer warmth, it changes the atmosphere around you. So tonight, think of someone you love. Imagine offering them calm through your own peace, not to fix them, just to soften the air between you. In this quiet exchange, something begins to shift. Have you noticed how time speeds up when you're happy and slows when you're afraid? This isn't just poetic, it's biological. Your brain processes time differently depending on your emotional state. Fear adds frames, joy removes them. That's why some moments feel like forever, others like a blink. The amygdala, your emotion center, interacts with your internal clock. When you're anxious, it marks more events. You become hyper-aware, your body preparing for danger. Time stretches. But when you're immersed in pleasure or love, the mind stops counting. You're in it. Time dissolves. This is why traumatic moments feel so long, and joyful days vanish like vapor. Emotions don't just color memories, they bend the shape of time itself. But this also means you can shift your experience of time through presence, through breath, through emotion. A single minute, deeply felt, can carry the weight of an hour, and an hour distracted can vanish without meaning. So tonight, don't try to control time. Just feel it. Let emotion guide the rhythm. Whether slow or swift, every heartbeat is a moment fully lived. Here's something tender and quietly profound. The emotions you feel most often become part of who you are. Over time, repeated emotional patterns shape the brain. They carve neural pathways, grooves that become easier and easier to fall into. If you practice gratitude, your brain becomes wired for noticing beauty. If you often ruminate in fear, the brain learns to seek danger. Emotion doesn't just pass through, it sculpts. This doesn't mean you're stuck with how you feel, but it does mean awareness matters. Each time you return to kindness, wonder, curiosity, you deepen that emotional trail. You strengthen the parts of your personality that uplift you. Even tiny shifts matter. A single moment of joy, sincerely felt, can light up new circuits. Over time, those circuits become habits, and habits become identity. So tonight, notice what emotions are shaping your inner landscape, not to control them, but to meet them with compassion. Because who you are is being built one feeling at a time. Some pains don't come from injury, They come from emotion, held, hidden, unheard. Modern research confirms what ancient traditions have long taught. When emotions are suppressed, they find other places to speak, often through the body. Tension in the shoulders, a heavy chest, a lump in the throat. These aren't random, they're signals. The nervous system, unable to release an emotion, stores the charge in tissue, in muscle, fascia, breath. It's the body remembering what the mind avoided. This doesn't mean every ache is emotional, but it does mean emotions live in the body. And healing is often somatic. Movement, tears, sighs, laughter, even trembling. These aren't breakdowns, they're releases. Trauma expert Bessel van der Kolk says it best. The body keeps the score, but it also offers the solution. When you listen, move, breathe, the stored emotions can begin to melt. So tonight, if your body aches without clear reason, place a hand there, not to fix, just to acknowledge. That part of you might simply be asking to be felt. Ever had a gut feeling you couldn't explain, but it turned out to be right? That's not luck. That's your nervous system processing faster than your conscious mind. And often, that signal arrives through emotion. Intuition doesn't speak in words. It speaks in sensations. A pull, a resistance, a quiet knowing, and those feelings ride on emotional pathways. Emotion is how the body whispers what the mind hasn't yet figured out. This is why tuning into your emotions strengthens your intuition. When you can tell the difference between fear and truth, between anxiety and warning, your inner compass becomes clearer. Some scientists call this neuroception, the subconscious scanning of your environment. It reads signals too fast for thought, and it sends you emotional hints to guide your behavior. Often, the quieter you become, the louder the signal gets. So tonight, as the world stills, listen inward. Not with logic, but with presence. Your next answer may not come as a thought, but as a feeling. There's a soft and strange truth science is still catching up to. Your beliefs can change your biology. Not just your mood, your cells, your immune responses, even your rate of healing. This is the mystery behind the placebo effect. When a sugar pill, believed to be medicine, brings real healing. But this isn't just about pills. It's about the stories you believe inside. If you truly believe you're doomed, the body contracts. If you believe you're healing, something opens. Hormones shift. The immune system responds. Your very tissue listens. This doesn't mean belief fixes everything, but it does mean belief matters. Deeply. When you believe you are safe, your body lowers inflammation. When you believe someone loves you, oxytocin rises. When you believe in your purpose, your brain releases dopamine. These aren't philosophies, they're chemical facts. This is why affirmations, prayer, hope, even ritual can have real measurable effects on the body. Not because of superstition, but because your body follows your mind's instructions, especially when those thoughts are repeated, heartfelt, and emotionally charged. So tonight, if your body is tired, or healing, or hurting, offer it a belief. Not forced, not fake. Just one true thought, like, I'm still here, because even that is enough to begin a shift. There's a simple act that can change your brain, giving your emotion a name. You might think labeling sadness or fear would make it louder, but research says the opposite. Naming an emotion calms the amygdala, the brain's fear center. It moves the feeling from chaos into coherence. This is called affect labeling in psychology, and it's as gentle as saying, "This feels like grief," or "I think I'm overwhelmed." The moment you do this, your prefrontal cortex, the reasoning part of your brain, lights up. You begin to regulate, instead of react. Children who learn to name emotions grow up more resilient. Adults who do it regularly experience fewer stress-related illnesses. It's a skill, but also a kind of emotional hygiene. You're making your inner world visible and therefore less frightening. It doesn't mean you have to explain it, fix it, or share it with the world. Just name it quietly. Like whispering to yourself in the dark, I see you. The act of noticing is the beginning of change. So tonight, if a heavy feeling arises, try to name it. Not perfectly, just sincerely. Because sometimes the smallest act of awareness becomes the turning point. Gratitude may be the most powerful emotion in the human catalogue. It shifts biology in seconds, lowers blood pressure, calms the heart, increases dopamine and serotonin. It even improves sleep and reduces pain. All this from simply noticing what you appreciate. Gratitude changes how the brain sees the world. When practiced daily, the brain begins to scan for good things. It rewires neural pathways. It trains the mind to expect kindness, even in difficulty. But here's the part most people miss. Gratitude doesn't require perfection. You don't need everything to be right. You only need to notice one thing: a warm blanket, a kind memory, the softness of your breath. This act of noticing begins a cascade of calm. In MRI scans, people who express gratitude regularly show more activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, an area tied to empathy, judgment, and emotional resilience. It means gratitude literally grows the part of your brain that helps you love better, choose wisely, and recover faster. So tonight, as you lie in stillness, try this simple thing. Find one moment, just one, to be thankful for. Let it fill your heart like a soft light. It doesn't need to be big, just true. We live in a world that often rewards logic and hides emotion. But here's the truth. Emotion is not weakness. It's intelligence. It's feedback. It's information no spreadsheet can measure. It's your body saying, something here matters. In fact, people who feel deeply and learn how to navigate those feelings often make the wisest leaders, healers, artists, parents, and scientists. They notice patterns others miss. They respond instead of react. They sense when something's off before words explain it. Even in the animal world, emotion plays a key role. Elephants grieve. Ravens remember betrayal. Dolphins comfort each other. Emotion is not a flaw of humanity. It's a language of life. When we dismiss our emotions, we don't become stronger. We become numb. And numbness, over time, turns into disconnection. From ourselves, from others, from meaning itself. So tonight, if you've been told to get over it or toughen up, let that weight drop. Your emotions are not noise, they are notes, and you are a symphony. We often think reality is solid, made of facts, objects, and laws. But quantum physics and neuroscience both suggest something quietly radical. What we feel may change what we perceive. In quantum mechanics, the observer effect shows that the act of observation changes the behavior of particles. And in the mind, the same is true. How you observe your life, with fear, hope, love, or despair, shifts how your reality unfolds. This doesn't mean you control the world with thoughts, but it does mean your emotional lens filters everything. From the choices you notice, to the people you attract, to the ideas that arrive when you least expect them. Your emotions act like a tuning fork, and reality responds like an echo, not always instantly, not always predictably, but rhythmically. What you feel, you begin to find. So tonight, if life feels uncertain, remember this: the way forward isn't always seen, it's sensed, and your emotions, however quiet or chaotic, are guiding you, not away from truth, but toward the one only you can feel.